Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where the UAE forms an empire. So, today is UAE National Day, and because I live in the UAE, I know when that is. Anyway, whatever. Time to get into this. So, here is. Oh, okay, no. Here you go. Here is the UAE. Now, you may be thinking, well, why does the border look so ugly? Well, it kind of looks like a horse. Maybe that's the intention. But also, who owns all of this land? Does this belong to Iran? No, it doesn't. It belongs to Oman. So, like, here. I'm not colouring Oman just yet. But, yeah, they're going to be forming an empire. But, you can see they're in quite difficult region of the world to make an empire. Like, you've got Saudi, who's, like, 7 times stronger than you. Oman, you can definitely beat them. Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, you could get them, but would you really be able to? But we're going to say there's no America, so yeah. There's no America or UN or anything, so they can't get involved. But remember, there is still Iran, Iraq, and Saudi, which could be you, and Pakistan and India. But you could be everybody else in the region. Yeah. Anyway, let's go see their first target. And that's Oman. It is Oman. I changed my mind. So yeah. Emirati forces will immediately take over the exclaves and start pushing from Al Ain and Fujairah, which is here and here, into the country. Let's get some major cities so we can see what we're actually doing. Yep, okay. And now Emirati forces continue to push along the country. However, not along this gap right here. You may be thinking, why? Well, mountain range, yay, woohoo. So they go along the coast instead. However, they do make a small entrance in through here. Continue to enter along the coast. Getting closer and closer to the capital, facing fierce Omani resistance. However, Emirati forces pushed down from the south and cut off the rest of the country from the capital. So just like Al Dhafar, I don't really know what else is down here though. They pushed down the Omani coast, capturing many major cities, and all of a sudden they reach the area around Salalah, and where they start to face resistance from defenses that have been made in the mountains until they capture the city. Now they finally break through the mountains and push towards Muscat from both sides, and once the city falls, the Omani government surrenders. Let's have a look at peace treaty. Well, yeah, they wanted land. What could I say? Yeah, so they've been officially annexed by the UAE. And we have something like this occurring. Fix this horrible... the top exclave is fine, but the little eye is not. Here we are. Next on the list, like almost straight away, we're going to have Qatar and Bahrain and Kuwait. Oh, no, not Saudi. And Kuwait. Emirati forces land in the south of Qatar, and from here, it's pretty much... I know the US would really help in real life, but we're not going to do that, and if we had the US doing, we'd have to have everything else, and they wouldn't have even been able to capture Oman if they had international restrictions like the world does. I'm not saying I'm like an imperialist or anything, but like for empire scenarios, you can't really. And yeah, Kuwait's gone. Nice, simple, easy. Boom. And I don't have to do any borders. Lovely. That's what you call lovely jubbly. Anyway, what we're going to have happening here is Yemen. But this time they have a slightly bigger excuse to free the people. Yeah. So for now, they are going to work with Saudi Arabia. No, so I said for now. Remember that. We have Omani forces entering along from the border and pushing in like here, Saudi forces, which is almost the kind of border that it used to look like before. And let's put the major cities layer back on again, so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, there's no cities. There's no cities for most of Yemen, so this whole region falls fairly quickly. The Emirati Navy capturing Socotra. Meanwhile, we have Al Mukalla, which is in this range. I don't know specifically where. It's in this range, so they push in and capture that. Maybe it's over here, I don't know. But it's in this area. They continue to push further in, with the Saudi forces pushing in from the north and capturing Idlib, where the Houthis actually started from. So, interesting. To push towards Sana'a, and the battle in the city is very intense as there's fierce resistance from local Yemenis and, of course, the Houthis. They push down and capture Aden, and Sana'a falls eventually once both of them relocate all their forces. So, let's have a look at the peace treaty. Let's have a look at the peace treaty here. And yes, we have the whole thing being annexed for peacekeeping. Definitely not expansion. Definitely don't want any more Arabic coffee. No, that looks horrible, that border. Here we are. We have Saudi Arabia annexing all of Western Yemen, and because it's the UAE's video, the UAE annexing all of Eastern Yemen, as well as Socotra. So yeah, goodbye Saudi. You could leave now. You could leave. Yeah, okay. No, you could leave. So yeah, we have Saudi annexing all of this land. Here we are. The new borders look something like this. And we might need a little bit of help for the next task. So, the UAE's been weighing up the next options to attack. Pakistan? No, they've got nuclear weapons. India? Absolutely not. Even with bus, they would need to be like God's strength to be able to beat India, because they've got 1.4 billion people, which they could easily mobilize, like infinite like sources of manpower, like even more of a meat shield kind of thing than the Soviet Union. Russia's only got 140 million, so like 10 times more. And also, this thing combined only has like 25 million, maybe max, if that. So they decided for a more reasonable target, going after Iraq. However, they probably wouldn't be able to win on their own, so we'll work on that. Emirati forces will push in from the coast and capture the whole coastal regions. They start to push up through Iraq, however, they're facing fierce resistance. Because once again, remember what they did to America and how big their army was. They had 1 million people. So we're imagining the same thing, and these guys can't really put up the same thing. So, yeah. Huge defense, and we even see the pushback of Emirati forces all the way to something like this. But now Iraq is the one facing international support. Or are they? With newest entrance to the war being Iran. And this is not good, because Iran is stronger than Iraq now. So, yep, nice. The push for Baghdad is initiated, and the city is now under siege by Iranian and Emirati forces. The south gets pushed into. However, Iraq does make one final counter attempt, encircling many troops, pushing the Emiratis back all the way to the border. However, once another wave comes in, the final resistance starts to collapse as they push in. Iranian forces push in and capture the Kurdistani north, capture Baghdad, and once they capture a few more major cities, Iraqi forces will retreat into the desert, and once they reach roughly around the Jordanian border, they surrender. Simples. Full annexation, but not by the UAE. The UAE will get not a lot of land for the amount of troops they lost. But for Iran, win-win. They didn't even have to do that much. I mean, they did, but like, they didn't have to start the war. which got them a little bit less international attention. Anyway, enough about that. It's not Iran's video, is it? It's the UAE's. Now, yeah, the UAE's going to access more land, and Iran's a bit bigger. And Iran is going to stay as the UAE's ally, actually. They're going to become the Gulf Alliance. And I think you know where this is going, don't you? If you don't, well, yeah, here you go. Saudi's like, what the... You know what? You know what I would have said, right? So, the world is like, whoa, guys. Can we keep this clean? No fighting? And they're like, no thanks. So, yeah, we're all dying. But, personally, I think, even in real life, the GCC versus Iran, just 1-on-1, I think it's hard to tell, but maybe Iran might win. But maybe it would be really close. But if they had the support of like the West, it would be easy peasy. Because they'd have fighter jets and sanctions on Iran. And yeah, Russia's kind of busy right now anyway. So Iranian forces, after going into Iraq, go straight into Saudi Arabia, capturing the north of the country and reaching the Red Sea within a matter of weeks, as the Saudis weren't really that prepared for this. Forces also push in from the UAE's claims over here, and Emirati forces push it to the desert. However, why would you want to invade into like the emptiest part? And you're like, but it's all the desert, right? No. I mean, it is, but like, this is like, there's absolutely nothing in here. No, not that much. And then in here, absolutely nothing. This whole area is just flat nothingness. Even into southern Qatar. Absolutely nothing here. There's like 50,000 people in that huge area. So yeah, not great. Emirati forces push in and easily capture the south of Yemen. However, they don't face open arms, as you thought I might have said, because they do actually occupy portions of... They do actually occupy half of Yemen already. Anyway, we have Iranian forces pushing into the north, capturing this area over here, and it's not looking too good for Saudi, as now Iran makes a naval landing near Dammam and captures the city successfully. And now the push on... Do we really not have a capital? Oh, we do. Okay, well, let's go back a little bit. Saudi forces make a counterattack and recapture Tabuk, Hale, Medina, and Dammam, and start to push towards Sana'a and actually capture the city as well as Taiz. However, they can't really go any further, and as the Iranians and Emiratis have set up a successful defensive line, which repels any further Saudi counterattacks. And before you know it, about a month or two later, we have the forces reinstating their attack, this time heading straight for Riyadh, as it would pretty much eliminate Saudi Arabia. And the king sees this and is like, whoa, can you not? So, king goes to Mecca, because Riyadh's not really the best place for a king right now, because it's getting absolutely blown up to pieces by warfare, bombing, whatever. Typical proxy war government crap. Anyway, Iranian forces now start to head towards Riyadh, as now the UAE and Iran meet up together, encircling and capturing Dammam and capturing Riyadh. And from here, it's all downhill for Saudi Arabia. Hale push is fallen. Hale falls. Iran once again captures Tabuk, which is kind of the area where Neom is, if you know where that is. The line. Medina falls, which is a very significant city in Islam. Jeddah falls. I don't know. I'm not going to say this because I'm not Muslim, but I don't know if there would be any fighting in Mecca. I'm not too sure about something like that. Jazan falls and Tay falls, and goodbye Saudi Arabia. Simple. Okay, let's have a peace treaty here, and this is not looking good for Saudi Arabia. I've come up with something like this for our border boundaries. So we have Saudi Arabia being turned into a sort of puppet state, with the king being removed. Sorry, King King Salman or whoever it is. I don't actually know. The UAE will wait. The UAE is going to annex all of this land down in the south. Not all of it is super, super valuable. Of course, there is some oil. I don't know where specifically. But yeah. Qatar is going to annex all of... No, not Qatar. The UAE is going to annex all of this. The UAE also annexes this land down here to connect to the Kuwait region up here. And finally, we're going to have Iran taking over all of this land up in the north. Final thing that I think we should do... No, the final few things. Number one, the annexation of Somalia. Simple, no more explanation needed. And Djibouti and Ethiopia. No. It's not Italy. We're not colonizing you. I'm sorry for that, Ethiopians. Hope you understand. And the UAE is nice, and they're going to give Ethiopia a coastline again, so party in Ethiopia. I'm sorry, Eritrea, but like, your borders look so much better when you were part of Ethiopia. I know there's cultural things, whatever, but it just looks so good when you were part of them. Now that looks nice. And we're approaching our final decision, actually. And this is going to be possibly surprising, possibly not. If you're good at foreshadowing English there, and it's like what I did, you might be able to tell what's going to happen here. And, well, Iran is getting attacked by the UAE. And, like, Iran's like, what are you doing? You're not going to be able to beat me. And they're like, funny one. Okay. Anyway. Well, of course they wouldn't be able to beat them on their own. So they can have some help. This country right here is going to join in the war. We're not going to give them a name because some people get annoyed. Fair enough. It's not my problem. It's not my opinion. I'm not having an opinion for understandable reasons. Pakistan, Afghanistan, and yeah, doesn't really look too great now, does it? Syria joins. I know this would not happen in any scenario, but the whole idea of the UAE getting in the scenario in the first place just does not really work. So, yeah, remember, it's very unrealistic. So don't do a comment saying, oh, the UAE could never do this, or, no, I hate the UAE. Well, it's not that kind of video. It's just a scenario. So, clearly, Iran, isn't too liked as every single one of their neighbors has just declared war on them, including people that don't even border their country. So, like, it's a pretty big statement, not gonna lie. So now, we see forces from Saudi Arabia. I don't know why they're fighting again, but immediately capture the newly occupied Saudi territory and meet up with Jordanians and Syrians. And is the country beginning with I. Turkey and Azerbaijan and Armenia. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't need to talk about that. Turkmeni forces are going to push in from the north, as well with help of Afghanistan and Pakistan. No, not yet. The Battle of Mashhad is a very fierce one. Afghani and Pakistani forces capture Zabul and start to push into inland Iran. But remember, it's not the nicest of terrains, which is also part of the reason why Tehran has got no water, because it's just a dry, deserty mountain. Except for this part. This part's nice. So, yeah. Pakistani forces push further into the country, now approaching and capturing Minab, with Emirati forces landing in the south. And altogether, they're able to capture Hormozgan and Bandar Abbas. Mashhad falls completely to control. Oh, hi Kazakhstan. Emirati forces push into Najaf, and with an Iraqi rebellion, they're able to do this. And remember, Turkey, the eye, you. All of these guys, UAE, Saudi, great to UAE, Saudi, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan. Not too good for Iran. They're going to get smashed about. And considering that most of the world is probably sending in weapons, even though they may be condemning it, doesn't look too good for Iran, does it? Turkmenian forces somehow are doing really well. I mean, maybe because Pakistan's giving them like everything, and also their own troops. So Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan pushing up north with Emirati forces and Turkish forces pushing to Tehran. And once all the powers meet at Tehran and capture the thing, Iran basically surrenders. They haven't surrendered yet, but it's almost inevitable that they lose the whole northern coastline. Emirati forces push and capture Shiraz, and after a few more battles and a few more encirclements, I mean maybe a lot more, goodbye. We miss you, Iran. So yeah. Let's look at peace treaty here, which is basically gone in reverse. Anyway, so Iran is going to get carved up. We can do this on camera because I feel like it today. Iran is going to get carved up like a pumpkin. But it's not Halloween anymore, so I can't really do that. Carved up like a turkey. You Americans celebrating Thanksgiving, you could like that. I hope. Smiley face. Well, anyway. Pakistan is going to annex all of this land because, I mean, they kind of did the most on the eastern front. Afghanistan is going to annex all of... No, that's horrible. They're going to annex all of this. And then Turkmenistan will annex all of this. This would look nice on them. That's a lot of people in here. Azerbaijan, well, we know what's going to happen. They're going to annex all the Azeri majority areas. Armenia is going to get just condolences and participation medals. Sorry, Armenia. Jordan is going to get a far larger coastline, expanding all the way over here. Syria will push into western Iraq. Turkey will gain Iraqi Kurdistan. Saudi Arabia will basically just gain back the rest of their old claims. I mean, old territories. The UAE is going to get a heck of a lot of land. Coastline, I mean. They're going to get all of Hormuzgan. And they're going to get up to here. Is their video, right? And then the the reformed state of Iraq is going to come back. And they're going to be bigger. And they're going to have more Iranian land. And yeah, this is kind of what I've gone with. So, put the main part in as grey. And then the rest of it, can we... Oh no, we can't do that because the whole world will get filled in. Boom, 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 boom. No. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. This is what we've got. Let's see what the borders look like. And also Lebanon, country, Palestine. I'm sorry, you really... And Armenia. Can't forget Armenia. You really did get absolutely nothing from this, didn't you? So yeah, Jordan's going to look like that. That's a really cool border, I think. And the puppet state Federation of Saudi thing is going to get all of this land, which is pretty good. It's all of their land plus a little bit more. Because we like to give a tip on our own regard. Talking to you, America. The Iraqis will expand. No. The UAE is going to expand further into Iraq. The new Iraqi state is formed here. Turkey will annex this region of northern Iraq, which is kind of what they had before. Syria looks good now. Jordan looks good. The UAE's borders look better. Pakistan will annex this region. I forgot what it's called. The new Iranian government, which is kind of not really working anymore. That's why they're in grey. Is formed. Oh. No, Azerbaijan, you're not making a ginormous island in the middle of the Caspian. That is the most disgusting border I've ever seen. Oh my god, that's horrible. I am so sorry, Armenia. You've really been done dirty. That looks a bit more reasonable. Turkmenistan. Armenia, I will repay you, don't worry. Turkmenistan almost looks the exact same. I can't really tell the difference. It just looks a bit more flat. Afghanistan now looks really weird. Yeah, I don't like that. But it's not Afghanistan's video. Anyway, if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Goodbye. See you in another video. Adios.